What's up, horror feeds? Your boy Ricky Grimes. It is Sunday, and you know what that means. It's The Walking Dead. This is the Horror Fiend TV podcast. We're going to be covering The Walking Dead Rogue Element. I got my man Joe. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Ready to talk Walking Dead again. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
we're leading to the end of this,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to
Ah,
have these discussions with you. I'm looking forward to these weekly discussions with you. So
yeah, me too, man. It's like the best part of the week. I love what I'm telling you. When The Walking Dead was in its prime heyday, man, it was nothing like getting up Sunday morning and being like, "Oh, it's
it,
time. What's gonna happen?" That's when like everybody was watching the show. But I still enjoy it. It's the last of the series, so I'm gonna enjoy every single second of it. So once it's gone, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? So gotta enjoy it.
Sebastian and Daryl are going to have the Sebastian and Rick moment. I'm feeling
Wait,
it's going to lead up to
before
that.
you get into that and we get into the episode, there will be spoilers in this episode right here. So if you haven't seen this episode, or if you haven't even read the comic, please, we're gonna reference the comic a lot for stuff that happened in the past and will be upcoming. So if you don't want to know anything, and you never read the book, please just turn away. We don't want to ruin it for you.
Yeah,
But
no.
you mentioned something interesting with Daryl and Sebastian, and somebody mentioned this. Ah, man, I read it somewhere, but oh man, it got me scared. So in the comics, leading up to the end 193, the final issue, Image released a lot of future comic covers. All right, this is gonna be issue 194, 195, 196. So they had to do it for publication. They had to do that. Those were fake covers. Kirkman knew they weren't gonna do that, but this is made fake covers.
Yeah.
What's the first thing they did when they announced the final season that was gonna happen here? They announced Daryl and Carol are having a spin-off show. So what if this is the AMC's way of saying, no, we're gonna fake you out. You're gonna think, all right,
A red herring.
Daryl's gonna
A red
survive because
a
he's got
red
a show with
herring.
Carol.
Yep.
But because of Sebastian, what if Daryl does not survive? And because I always said it, who wants to see a spin-off show when the show's over with Daryl and Carol? I mean, don't you think I think Norman Reedus would like to move on, you know what I'm saying?
I think so too.
I think
Honestly,
because he's got
I
other
think
stuff going on too, you know?
well, and I think they're releasing another Boondock Saints.
Yes, and he's still got Ride with Norman. He's still got that show. He's
Yeah.
got his restaurant with
So
Jeffrey D. Morgan.
I think, and I mentioned it before that I think right now, unfortunately, comic fans, if you don't know, there's a one of the biggest deaths you have in the comic series.
The
I mean,
biggest,
honestly, the
the
biggest
biggest, yeah.
because the whole series was based on this one person, and then you have this death. So he's no longer part of the show, and Daryl stepped into it. But like Daryl, honestly, everybody loves Daryl. Daryl's a great character, but Daryl, I am a comic book source material person. So when Daryl got introduced, it's kind of like I was not originally a fan of him, and my one critique was the whole how Daryl always got that one episode when he got separated.
He's to this day.
If you didn't notice from the start of this episode, this was a Eugene centric episode. It had a lot to do with him, Stephanie, fake Stephanie, which I'll talk about that later on. But you had like this whole little montage with him and Stephanie, and then he then tells Princess that he's in love with Stephanie. And we all know at this point, yes, Rick, you're right. From the last time we talked, I didn't think about it at first, but Stephanie is not the right Stephanie. This is somebody who's been, it's a ploy. It's somebody who's kind of fitting in.
The worst kept
And
secret.
and it's actually it was. And it's that, because even social media stuff that I started reading after, everybody was saying the same thing. So I didn't pick up on it. But again, this is the great thing about the series, because as somebody who knows what you're supposed to
Yeah.
expect, it's better if you can throw off somebody who knows what to expect.
Mhm.
So kudos for them, because I really thought maybe this was the real Stephanie. But then after we talked last time, I'm like, oh shit, maybe it's not.
recast. That's what everybody was saying when the trailer came out and they saw this Stephanie. Like, wait a minute, why they change the character? Then once I saw the real Stephanie, and when the show came back, okay, they're pulling the old switcheroo here, but we'll see, because that was not in the comic. That's one of those you were just saying they got to switch it up, to keep you on your toes, and that's one thing that's definitely not in the book. But again, you wonder why go through that trouble to do that though, like just to break down Eugene, to kind of dissect his character, rip him apart, just to put him back together again. Like, what do you?
Yes, actually, that's what they're doing though. That's what I'm trying to say, is that we were expecting certain things to happen.
Yeah.
So the writers went a different direction and broke them down. I mean, literally, like, this episode was basically tearing Eugene down. I like Eugene. However, I feel Eugene has always been a part of all the bad decisions made.
When I'm watching this episode, I'm thinking, God, like, Joe is probably hating this right now. I know you hate Eugene. I
don't hate him. It's just the fact that he's been part of all the bad decisions.
Yeah.
And because unfortunately, I'm a positive person in most of things, so I can see myself making the same stupid decisions as Eugene.
He's trying though. Eugene is trying,
and that's why maybe it's annoying for me.
And I like
because I can see that I can see his naive way of looking at things.
And I love the fact that they did this, because it shows that even because he's come a long way. He's a lot stronger now.
Oh my
smarter,
God.
Like, but the fact that he's still vulnerable like this, and people can still take advantage of him, and he can still fuck up. Like, I like that.
But he always fucked up though. That's the problem. I mean.
That's what I said.
That's why I told you in the episode when he showed up, at Alexandria. When he showed up, I told you, I said this was another Eugene bad decision.
Like, he let in Heath into Alexandria without really like knowing who he was. Gotta respect the hair game, man.
Eugene.
Real quick before we get going, guys, please smash that like button, hit subscribe, share this video. We would greatly appreciate that. We're talking about Rogue Element. This one was actually written by David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. What a name. But
that's
interesting.
A long name.
Yes. He did the screenplay to Orphan, which we just talked about that on our.
Are you kidding me?
He did that. And this was directed by Michael Kudlitz himself. And if you don't know who he is by name, that's the actor who plays Sergeant Abraham Ford. He came back, he directed this episode. It's like the first one he directed. He directed some intent, but I love when the past actors come in, because they're part of the family, and you could tell, like, and it's a Eugene-centric episode, so they always give him the Eugene stuff.
Well, dude, you just literally mind blew me. With everything, just like
a lot of information.
Oh yeah, you did. Holy shit, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, but again, we're talking Eugene, so this is going to be a very divisive episode, because a lot of people don't like Eugene, his mannerisms, the way his speech patterns. I happen to love it. He cracks me up, but it could be grating. I get that.
Eugene is an awkward character.
Yeah.
For those people who don't have, like, able to be social, Eugene lacks that.
Yeah, he does.
That's his whole thing, though. Eugene lacks a lot of social cues. He's just very direct, and some people who lack those are very direct. I'm outgoing, but I also lack those myself. That's why Eugene's kind of annoying character for me, because I don't want, like, is that what I look like?
He reminds you of yourself, Joe? Is that what
yes, that's the problem. No, honestly, like, I watch him. I don't have the mullet, but I do have the longer hair. But like, like, I watch him and I'm like, shit, am I that uncomfortable? Is that how I am with people? And when I want to explain things, is that how annoying I sound?
Yeah, he's funny.
Oh no, I mean, I do love Eugene.
Yeah,
I give him a hard time, but I think it's a lot of, like, I see a lot myself in him.
Eugene's a character that I think he deserves an episode like this. Because we start off with Eugene. He's with Stephanie. Well, Stephanie, and they're in his apartment, and he gives her the keys to the kingdom essentially, and he says, "I love you" to her, and you could tell right off the bat, she's like, "Oh no." You can just see it like, oh, she's caught off guard. And I knew it like, oh no. And he wrote a science novel, a science fiction novel, which is pretty cool. And he, of course he would in the zombie apocalypse. And she reads it, but then after that awkward exchange, he goes to Princess and he's like, oh my God, like, what if she doesn't like me, or what if, this and that? And she's like, calm down. If she says she loves you, when a woman says she loves you, you have to believe her. And I'm saying, oh boy, she's setting him up to fail.
Listen, Princess is played by a Puerto Rican actress.
Yeah.
And her response is the same response that a Puerto Rican person would tell you.
That's why I was like, oh man, he's talking to the wrong
Princess
person,
was talking and she said everything. I'm like, yeah, that's the way we would tell you.
Yeah. Like, I love it because they go into this cool montage of Eugene. He's in he's sitting at a bench. It's not a park. It's like, I don't know.
Well, he was meeting her, so they were supposed to meet for ice cream.
Yeah, but what was that? Was that a plaza?
I mean, it was in front of the ice cream cafe.
Yeah, so he's sitting.
So he was sitting at the bench because he got the ice cream. The thing is, he got the ice cream.
Yeah.
So when you see it later on, he's standing there and it's melted.
I love it. It did that 360 wrap around, and the music changes. It goes from happy to bleak, and the ice cream, like you said, is melted, and you could see the look on his face, like, oh boy, just bro, what are you still doing there? Get the hell.
So we're having a horror series, basically tap into our emotional part.
Yeah,
because Eugene is the ultimate loser.
Yeah,
like if you look at rom-coms, if you look at any type of stuff, Eugene is the ultimate loser. And in this is the person who's in love, who's basically going through what the nerd, rom-coms go through.
Yeah, a guy who's never experienced anything like this with a woman.
No.
And he spent so many years like eyeing Abraham and Rosita together, and he must be like, oh, I'm never gonna get anything like that. And I gotta admit,
honestly, I would have. I think him and Rosita would have been a cute couple.
Yeah, like in the comics, they were a couple. They were.
That's what I'm saying. I would have liked to see them only because.
But even in the comic, man, I never bought it though, man. I never.
I know, but you have to. Okay, so you have to look at it. So you have a strong Spanish woman, and then you have the meek, nerdy white man. Them getting together, it is two different people, and then finding a way to work around each other. And I feel that Rosita totally would have liked to have been in a relationship with Eugene.
Yeah,
just because
you could not maybe maybe not linked in a romantic way right now, but I think
as a friends.
If the situation presented itself to go further, I don't think she's gonna be like, ew. I think she would have been open to it. I think
that would have been that. And honestly, if they got together, all Walking Dead fans would have cheered for them two being like this power couple.
Yeah. Instead, they give us this random this random Rosita Gabriel relationship that just came out of nowhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but all right, so we're gonna go back into this now. Eugene, now, man, we see he finally goes to confront Stephanie. We see a random guy coming out of the building, which is gonna play an important role later. He goes up, she don't answer. The camera pans into her apartment. We're going through. Got that crack of the door. She's packing up. She's ready to go. We're going through the title sequence. So we know, okay, she's hightailing it. She played on. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know why though. Yeah, at this point, but we know, damn man, this is gonna kill Eugene because Eugene's he's very sensitive. You could tell that the title's gonna take this kind of rejection quite easily, especially not knowing why. But I will say his story arc played like a movie to me. I love the mystery behind it, the way he was telling Princess the story, and they go in between like him like investigating and being nosy and just looking at everything. And she's like, wait, what? You did this? You did that? Like what you thought about all that? And the music played along really well.
The thing I loved is that Rosita kept going, dude, are you not paying attention? Princess. I'm sorry. Princess kept going, dude, are you not picking up on it? She's gone.
She's gone.
Like,
what does he say? What does he say? But you told me no love.
But she was like the voice of reason on it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the arc that they gave him. So Eugene ends up coming up with a plan, and he has this whole board laid out with Stephanie in the middle of
As only
everything that's going
Eugene
on,
could.
as only Eugene could, and that's why. Shit. This is why I beat up on Eugene, because you know what? I can make that board myself.
Yeah.
If there was an issue going on, I can see myself doing the same board that
he's a pretty good artist, though.
Well, but not just that, but just the way he looks at things.
Yeah, it's
Eugene doesn't look at the step here. Eugene looks at like 3 or 4 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, that like a lot of things that Eugene has been underplayed in the series is that Eugene, though he does see ahead, he still always makes the wrong mistakes.
Always.
Which is what is the critique I have with him. So you have him doing this whole thing, trying to find out where Stephanie is. So a month has gone by now.
He looks so haggard. You mentioned
oh my God.
And what you call Sally Haggard.
It's a great word. It's a great word. It's a great word to use when somebody looks like
when
literally
he's sitting there with the fucking 40 ounce and he's just pissed.
Oh my God.
Oh, I felt that. I felt that. You've been there, like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah,
I mean, sloppy drunk.
I mean, at this point, so a month has gone by. Here we have Eugene, who's looked like he hasn't showered in a month. Like,
good job. His hair's all over the beard.
He's haggard. I mean, yeah,
haggard. He's haggard.
And so they have narrowed down on this guy Calhoun that they feel. Well, Eugene feels, because the thing with Eugene is now paranoia is set in. So he finally gets to his scene with Eugene and Lance confronting each other, and Eugene kind of figuring things out. Eugene just basically got a kick to the gut by fake Stephanie.
Man.
And by meaning that, like, she literally
Shira. Her name is Shira.
Is that what her name was? She literally kicked him in the gut.
Yeah,
took his wind out, and for him to realize it's not her.
No, she had no glasses, so that was fake too.
So
he sprayed that one guy, the guy with the hat. He had his drawing too, the guy with the hat who was the one that took all her furniture out. He sprayed that guy in the face with was that mace? A homemade mace?
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was something. Why is Eugene walking around? Why is Eugene walking around with the little spray bottle?
But this was a powerful scene for the actor who played Eugene.
Killed it.
Because like this was somebody who realized he was made a fool of, and not just that, but because he'd always been looked at as a fool.
Yes.
Honestly,
I think that's where all that emotion comes from too.
Yes, I think this was, for seasons long, with all the mistakes that he's made, this was his comeuppance. I love that word. Hopefully I pronounced it right.
Yeah.
This was his comeuppance, because he played this so emotionally.
Oh man, yeah.
Like even before this, when you saw him burning the stuff, we already knew he was broken. But when he spoke, he was broken. And he said, "You made a fool of me."
Yes.
And Lance was not moved by his words.
No.
And kind of was like, "Yes, but let me tell you why."
And even Eugene was like, "You just admitted it?"
that was the worst part, because he broke down. He emotionally broke down.
Eugene was like, I fell in love, and it was all a ruse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was a fiction.
Well, and like I said, like the lyrical part that she kicked him in the stomach for him to realize it. Like it wasn't a metaphorical way.
Right.
He actually physically did it for us to get to this point. I mean, like, kudos to him. This was a great scene. I beat up on Eugene. Great scene for him. Great scene. Well, because this for me, man.
You felt it.
Yes.
What's his name? Josh McDermott killed it.
This was for what I beat him up on.
Yeah.
This was for him realize. I think this was him realizing that he made his last stupid mistake.
Yep.
Like, this was it. Like, this is the changing point for his character. Like, he has gotten away with all his dumb decisions, but this was the one that it hit him harder instead of hitting the group.
Hey Joe, do you know any ASL?
That's one. And sorry, fans. So that means fuck off and die. I ended up learning, like, I ended up learning, I know the alphabet. So, and I used to, especially.
Well, that's good because you're gonna need a lot of ASL for this next section. We got Connie and her sister Kelly they're investigating pretty much Trooper Davis, Tyler Davis. They want to know what he's done, and remember, it's been a whole month, and he's still in the hospital, and they don't release any information about this poor guy. And Connie ain't having it. And we know Connie's ruthless when it comes to getting the information to the people. So what's up with this? Was this segment do it for you?
I mean, it did, because
Yeah.
so I mean so this is one of those little segments parts that it just gives the show the normalcy. Us getting back to not being worried about the walkers and just normal everyday things. And Connie knows something is up. She feels it. She's a reporter. There's a cover up. You know, she wants to find out what's going on. So she starts asking questions, and then she tags along with Mercer and his group, which Mercer actually in this episode was a little scary for me.
Yes.
To be honest
Oh
with you.
my god, dude! When he first showed up in the hospital, when he opened the door, and Kelly and Connie looked at him like, and he just he's like,
there
he's
was
not
something.
doing anything. He's just staring at them.
He was ominous. He was ominous in
Yes.
this episode. Well, but did you see? Did you get my text telling you that he was in the Avengers?
No,
You didn't know who he. Yes, you don't know. Oh my god.
was. He one
Sorry,
of the
fans.
was one of Thanos's guys?
Yes,
Glaive?
yes, that is who Mercer is.
You're lying.
I am, dude. Look it up on your fucking phone right now,
You
dude.
best
He
believe I'm
is.
looking that shit up right now.
Look it up.
Yes, Corvus Glaive. Yeah,
I told you, dude.
right.
Dude,
You're
when I
right.
saw that, that's why I texted you. I can't believe. I know we have like a string that goes on for.
Yeah,
I know. Sometimes it
it's
takes a
quite
while.
easily to miss one of those.
Yes. Oh no, that's why I was like, Rick. Did you know that Mercer was? Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
who he was. Oh my
Good
god.
shout. Good shout.
Oh, and yeah, this episode.
Perfect casting, by the way. Like we mentioned this before, The Walking Dead nails it at least 95% of the time with their casting choices for the characters from the comic to live action. Bro, they couldn't have picked a better Mercer. Oh man.
No, he's a great Mercer.
I mean, from page to screen, perfect. Connie and Kelly, they're part of this convoy, with Mercer. And some of their troops get into some trouble, and Mercer has to bail them out. So we see the walker on top of one of the soldiers, and we see the walker from the POV. Right, of course, you saw it coming. The axe right through the head splits the walker's head. Blood just splatters over Mercer, and he's like, looking at this guy like.
But he's soaked. He's
Yes,
soaked from like head to toe. Like actually, they didn't show all the way to the bottom.
But yeah,
I would imagine he is like head to toe in blood. That he just literally like massacred a bunch of other walkers.
Yeah.
So there was this whole ominous. And when Connie kept trying to talk to him, like he kept kind of dodging her questions on things, And after he showed up, all covered in blood, and he's like, "Did you get your answers?" Kelly, her character did portray the. Really want me to say this, but when Kelly's character said it. Kelly said it.
Put oomph behind it. Yeah,
Well, no, it wasn't.
You're right.
It wasn't Connie.
Good catch. You're right.
It was her. Like she was like, you know what?
You know what? Yes.
I'm gonna ask this.
Yes.
Like there was the transition.
You're right.
That you would have seen, because Kelly would have asked it a different way, but the way that Kelly asked it, there was a sting to it.
Right. So right now, we got one more story beat to hit on real quick. We got Carol and my boy Lance. Let me tell you, Lance is a character. I don't know if it's the actor or the. I'm really intrigued by this character. There's a duality to this character. Like you don't know what side of the fence he's on. He is. I don't know. I find him so interesting. And he went with Carol. They're gonna visit these drug dealers. They're smuggling puppies because that's how they get medicine for the hospitals. So they got this weird deal with this guy who's
I
taking
think
them.
they were Indians, weren't they?
I don't know what they were.
I,
Were
I I
they?
think they
Yeah.
were American Indians.
So
It looked like they were American Indians.
so he brings Carol with him because of course he read her file and Carol could. She's a good judge of people. Of course, Carol, once she gets, she's going to gravitate towards the woman who's hiding her wounds because, of course, Carol was an abused wife and she could tell when someone's been abused. So, of course, she off screen, she talks to this character, one of his lieutenants. But essentially, he's saying that the people, the workers, are asking Lance and the Commonwealth for a raise. Lance agrees, but they've gotten raises in the past. What happens? This guy's pocketing all the money and he's abusing all these women. And she opens up to Carol. Carol tells Lance. So Lance, obviously, they arrest the guy. It's just and we go like Lance took Carol out there to get this because he said, I want you to see this guy and I want you to help me with this asshole, essentially. And he's seen everything. Carol is one that nothing gets by her. She is such a smart character. She's always grounded in reality, always got an eye on everything that's going on. And she talked to this person because she knew this person had the answers. And that's exactly what it was. And now we know how to get medicine for the hospital, which is interesting. That this is not part of the Commonwealth. This is something completely different. That the Commonwealth got this little shady part of the land there. We could deal with these guys because we have to. They're a necessity, essentially. What did you think about all this? There wasn't much there. This is a really big, storyline.
So this is why I might be a bit off, because again, I want to hope that they're going to go against the comic books and change things as they are.
Yeah.
I think that Lance is being more set up as being more the bad guy than Sebastian is.
Okay.
I think that Lance is going to be the bigger antagonist for the season than it's supposed to be Sebastian. Sebastian is just because we're all expecting that.
Yes, yeah,
we're all expecting Sebastian to be the antagonist.
You're right.
But we're not realizing that we're slowly, and I told you this episode before, if you didn't notice the underlying tension between Milton and Lance.
You're right.
The episode before.
The episode before New Haunts.
If it would be great only because I am all for, I collect comic books and I'm I'm the annoying person that if you go to a movie and it's based on a comic book, I go, no, the storyline is supposed to go this way.
Yeah.
So if you want to change it up, so I'm slowly, but really slowly starting to look at that. I think Lance is actually going to be the antagonist as opposed to Sebastian.
Interesting.
We're all supposed to expect Sebastian being the antagonist. I just read an article saying that they're making Daryl being Rick, the father figure, for this storyline.
I see it.
We're all expecting that, though. That's the whole thing, though. So why not pull the rug out from under us, completely change it? And I'm slowly starting to look more and more as Lance being the antagonist because Lance wants to be in charge.
Let me ask you this real quick. You just blew my mind here. So right now, Horror Fiend TV. If this happens, this is the first I've heard of this. Lance, if he's the antagonist, it's got to be. If he's the antagonist, and it's not Sebastian, what does Lance do that's gonna push him?
Lance is going to kill Daryl.
You think so?
And Carol is going to kill Lance.
All right. So you heard it here first.
I mean, if honestly,
but it makes sense because if they want to
creativity wise, if you want us to not follow the narrative that we all know is supposed to follow, if you really want to throw us off, this is what you would do.
The show has to be better than the comic because if they adapt it page for page, word for word,
sloppy.
Horrible.
I'll
It's gonna
panic.
bad.
When we get to the end, we're gonna so
Bad.
fucking. We're gonna. I'm. I'm gonna have to change my setting to my
I'm telling
grill
you,
aside so
bro.
we can roast this.
Think about this. If you haven't read the comic and you're still with us, you don't care about spoilers. We're not gonna say anything. But imagine half of the characters you spent years with, all of a sudden, after a time jump, you don't know what the fuck happened to them. You don't know, are they still alive? What are they doing?
No,
For example, Mercer and Princess, right? We don't know once they got to. We don't know what happened to them. Did they become a couple? Did they die? Did Mercer kill Princess? Did Princess kill Mercer? Did they both get killed by what? We don't know. It's stupid. Negan, we don't know what happened to Negan. He just disappears. It's like I don't want any of that. I want every character. I want to know if they're alive, dead, or what the fuck they're doing at the end of this episode. They have to pay this off better. Well, now the final panel, I want that and Carl, the way Carl ended it, I want that to be Judith. That I do want. I love that. But everything leading up to that, they gotta wipe the slate clean with all that.
So we get to the end of the episode. When I was watching this, Rick, you called it. You were totally right. Like, you saw that Eugene was falling apart. Like he's burning shit and he's sitting there. And behind him, you see a figure. And he turns around and looks over. And we finally get to see that, yep. All right, Rick, you're right. Bolton's assistant is the right Stephanie.
Hey, if I'm Eugene, I'm like, she's gorgeous, man. Like, all right. Oh, wait a minute. Because the other Stephanie was gorgeous too, but this was like, whoa, this guy's winning at life right now. Now you got a second chance.
But you called it right. You were right. Yeah. You said in the last episode, you said there was a whole fake thing.
But that's only because I look a lot. I don't look for spoilers, but once I see something, I like to do research. And I saw the actress who played Stephanie's voice over the phone was a different actress that was picked for this role. So I'm like, wait, what? They changed the actress? What happened here? So that's why I kind of put two and two together. So it's not like I'm not the only one that came up with it, but I just,
No, you weren't, because after you said it, a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like
online. A lot of people online were saying this is not the right person. It's a fake, and so everybody called it out. But it was still cool.
Yeah, I loved it. All right, cool. I love the fact that they didn't drag it along. It's over. Eugene knows who's real now. Now we got to see how they follow it up with, because that's pretty important.
All right, so this was, this was honestly a filler episode.
Yes.
I mean, we all know that, but it was a good filler episode. It was something in Eugene's changing character, one of the characters I'm not a big fan of. Rating wise, I would probably give this one about a 3.5. It helped me look at a character I'm not a big fan of differently.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3 on this one, and I know for me it's harsh because I usually rate high, but I love Eugene stuff and everything else. Not that I didn't like it. I love Mercer, but everything else just kind of was. It was there just to have other characters get screen time. And that's what I'm kind of worried about. I don't want the Walker Dead to fall into this trap, because I loved No Other Way, because it broke all that. It had a lot of characters. Each character progressing their storyline. A lot of stuff's going on. And of course, that's a premiere. You can't get that every time, obviously. But I don't want every episode not to focus on one character or two, and then everyone else is kind of just in there. I don't want that. This is the last season. I want the pedal to the metal. I want characters to progress and be involved. But what I'm trying to say is it's the last season. There's so many characters. I don't want them to just focus on a couple every episode. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that, because we're never going to get nowhere like that. And that's and my other complaint too is you can tell because of restrictions, this was scaled down tremendously, bro. When they first went into the Commonwealth, the first thing you see is a football stadium. They're playing. There's a football game going on. The Commonwealth is not Alexandria. It's not Hilltop. It's not Kingdom. Now, if you're a casual and you're watching this, you're gonna think, "Oh, this is like the other places," and the scale looks the same, because they're taking a few select characters and they're just putting them in certain scenes only with each other and no one else, because of the restrictions. And two, like Princess, it's been over a month, 2 months now, right? they've been in Commonwealth, and we still haven't seen her interact with anybody other than the people she's already interacted with. Like, I want to see what Daryl thinks about her. What does Rosita think about Princess? Like, these characters never met Princess before. Like in the comics, when she first went to Commonwealth, Rick didn't even know she was part of the group. She thought she was a Commonwealth person. So she said, "Oh no." They told Rick, "Oh, she's one of yours." "Oh, really? Okay, that's news to me." So I don't want Princess just only interacting with Ezekiel and Eugene. Spread her out, like, you know what I'm saying?
Not a background character.
Exactly. I wanted to,
Yes.
like Rosita's been in the show forever. She rarely has scenes with Maggie, with Carol. She's always with Eugene, Gabriel. Like,
All right.
I need
But
to
wait.
expand these
Okay,
characters.
hold on. That keeps with actuality though, because sometimes some people don't interact. Like
Yeah, but we're
I hear
talking
my
years.
I know, but the
Years.
thing is, I still hear my friends talk about other people. I know who they are. I've never interacted with them.
Don't you want Negan to meet Princess? Like the two most
All
talkative
right.
characters.
So first of all, if that happened, Princess would go, "Why are you so angry?"
Negan would be like, "Why don't you shut the fuck up already?" Like,
Right, and then he would like her actually.
yeah, I think they would.
Like,
They
if
would get
anything,
along.
right? Because you know what, us Puerto Ricans, we can talk you down to the
See,
point that we make you give up.
and that's what I'm afraid of, man. I don't want to miss these moments. I want Princess to be with other characters as well. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the Horror Fiend TV podcast covering The Walking Dead, episode 1110, Rogue Element. Come back next week for The Walking Dead. We're going to be talking the next episode called The Lucky Ones. So join us back for the Horror Fiend TV podcast, episode 5, where we're going to cover The Lucky Ones. I'm Ricky Grimes. This is Joe. Please like, share, subscribe to this video. And guys, we would highly appreciate if you get the word out. With that being said, stay scared.
Don't get bit.
Slim than a chance with the averages. Sitting on the low like you added slick. Darkness make you disappear like a magic trick. Put up to the table, come down and sit. These devils try to tie you the crown with it. Now you surrounded by counterfeits, trying to chop you up into 1,000 bits.